Marketing.
Hi, Carmen. This is Rachel Siegel, and I'm here with Dr. McGinn and Carol Melvin.
Hi, Carmen.
Hi, how are you, doctor? Hi, Carol.
Hey, Carmen.
How is everyone?
Good.
Good.
Rachel, are we waiting for anyone else to join, or can we
I
get
think
started?
Kelly was going to come on the call. Is that right?
Yes, but she says we can start without her.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I know there were a lot of people on the invite, so perfect.
Okay, great. Dr. McGinn, I wanted to start off by saying welcome to Baptist Health and MCVI. We're very excited to have you joining us and the team. So we're going to get started with a few questions.
Okay.
So I've been reading a little bit about you, and you are considered to be the father of mixed cabbage. What advances do you foresee in the future for cardiac surgery?
Okay.
The father, that sounds old.
Yeah. The thing is that I can talk for hours on this topic, so I'll try and limit myself, and you let me know when I'm giving you too much information. So coronary bypass surgery was thought to be put into the grave in 2003 when drug-eluting stents were released. And everyone thought that would be the end of coronary bypass. It has been my niche since I really started practice. I used to do, more of everything else, but I kind of spent most of my career fine-tuning coronary bypass surgery, and I've developed this procedure over the years to try and offset the advances made in cardiology, because in the cardiology world, the drug-eluting stent really changed the way things worked. So, strangely enough, the pendulum has swung back from being very cardiology or interventional driven to now very cardiac surgery driven. Most places used to have about 50-50 split between valves and coronaries. Now it's come way back as more like 3/4 of most places' cases are coronary bypass surgery. So it's not here. What do we hear?
It's probably between the two campuses, we probably do about 1,400 coronary interventions.
Yeah.
And maybe 300 cabbages.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about the valve to cabbagery.
Oh, valve to cabbage.
Yeah. So things are swinging very much in favor of coronary bypass as opposed to maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a niche available. Someone had to come up with something to change the way coronary surgery was done, because patients typically don't like getting surgery. They certainly don't like getting their chest cracked. So they want some alternatives. That's kind of where the whole minimally invasive CABG thing came from, sort of filled that gap. Now, where we're going now is we're trying to refine it, make it so that it's done through a smaller incision, make it done so a patient can be home in a couple of days, make it done with more arterial bypasses so we have a more long-lasting result. And we're constantly evolving. And the other thing that's on my agenda is to teach other surgeons how to do this. So the future for me is make it so the patients move through the system quicker with less pain, less recovery time. Also to get more arterial bypasses so it's a longer lasting result. And then the third one would be to teach other surgeons, not just here in Baptist, but internationally.
Great.
So.
That's perfect. What are the service offerings or programs you plan to implement and or build at MCVI?
So my focus would be to create a center that has a comprehensive minimally invasive program. So what do I mean by that? So right now there are a lot of things done here at Baptist that are cutting edge and minimally invasive, but I would like us to be recognized as the minimally invasive cardiac surgery hospital, and not just because of Joe McGinn and what he does, but because of our whole team and what we do. So that when I look at the spread between all the different specialties, we have coronaries, which is kind of my niche. Then we have structural heart, which is a whole bucket of itself, which involves TAVR, which involves some new mitral valve solutions, mitral valve repair, and aortic valve surgery. So that bucket is a really critical bucket, and we need to work on that. We also need to work on arrhythmia surgery and minimally invasive arrhythmia surgery, which is probably not a big bucket, but something that, in order for us to have what I would consider a comprehensive minimally invasive program, we need to have that. And then the last thing in the agenda would be a aortic center, which would sort of cross over between vascular interventional radiology and cardiac surgery. And there's a lot of minimally invasive stuff and endovascular stuff being done in that area. So I kind of look at things in 4 buckets like that, and I think that my success will be if we can create a at least nationally recognized, maybe even internationally recognized center for minimally invasive advanced heart surgery.
When you say the arrhythmia, what components of I mean, I understand all the other ones, but help me understand a little bit more about the arrhythmia components.
So I would say there's probably 3 different areas where this is important. So it would be left atrial appendage ablation, occlusion. That could be done at the same time as, say, an aortic valve or a minimally invasive coronary. So that would be one. Then the other one would be concomitant maze procedures. Again, those can be done minimally invasive during a mitral valve, for instance. You can do a maze. But the thing that I think would stand out and make us stand out would be the convergent procedure.
Which we're doing.
We're doing? Oh,
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So
that's why I was trying to see if there was something that... Now, we're doing it. We started doing it. Dr. Bologna was kind of leading that with Dr. Pasquale and Dr. Viles Gonzalez here at this campus.
Okay.
So we haven't looked at that for the South Miami campus because of the lack of space over there right now.
Right. And it's not a big volume.
No, it's not.
Maybe if you do 20 a year, that'd be
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
But
we've got the foundation and started doing it, so it would be good for you when you come in to look at it and see how we can enhance it. And Carmen, have we done any marketing on that component of it? I don't remember.
Let me confirm. I'm not 100% sure. I have to check.
Okay.
So I think, from a marketing perspective, I would like to be able to say maybe a couple of years from now, maybe sooner, I don't know, that we can say we have the most advanced, the most minimally invasive cardiac surgery program. We want to be able to market that and say, do you do valves? Of course we do valves. Do we do convergent? Of course we do convergent. Mm-hmm. We do everything. There are a couple of things that we probably, that are not advanced minimally invasive, which is heart transplant, which is probably never going to be done. But
that's a tough one down here with the restrictions related to transplant programs.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's not really the big market. I mean, a transplant program does cases a year. It's not. Yeah. It's not a lot. So,
what about LVADs?
LVADs is another story. There's a segment of LVAD work we can do that would sort of be precursor to a transplant or precursor to a permanent device. But I would say that's something doesn't get into that minimally invasive arena.
Right.
And also, we need a lot of infrastructure stuff to do first, like critical care and stuff like that.
And we have an advanced heart failure physician starting this month.
Yes.
Dr. Chaparro from Jackson.
Right. And we need to work with him to sort of put the piece of this puzzle, piece of the puzzle.
So
that was very sexist of me, wasn't it?
It's okay. Physicians are men. Because women are smarter. So when she comes on board, she's getting her feet wet, and that's one of, I didn't want to squelch her enthusiasm as it relates to that. So our goal is to, in parallel, to kind of start building that business plan potentially for that. So I wanted to make sure we had that in the mix.
No, but I think that might actually be a separate marketing
separate
thing.
From the cardiac surgery program.
Intensive or advanced heart failure program.
Right. That's where that would kind of fall under. Yeah. But I like those 4 buckets.
Okay. Doctor, I know you have conducted extensive research. Can you tell us a little bit about what you are most passionate about and if you have anything ongoing right now?
Sorry, Carmen, we didn't quite hear the entire question.
Oh, I know Dr. McGinn has conducted extensive research. Can he tell us what he is most passionate or excited about, and if he has anything that is ongoing right now?
So the biggest project I have ongoing is the work of trying to demonstrate to the world the outcomes associated with minimally invasive coronary surgery. So I have a database that I'm going to have to transfer from Carolinas to here. That's going to be a trick.
Just as long as it's de-identified.
Yeah, it is de-identified.
Okay, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I can help with that.
Yeah, I work in concert with a gentleman in University of Ottawa, Ottawa Heart Institute, and we combine our database, and we also have other national databases that feed into our database. So we have a lot of stuff that we can publish based on this information. The other thing is we're with my colleague in Ottawa, we have another study going on. It's called the MIST trial, and it's looking at minimally invasive bypass surgery versus drug-eluting stent in LAD lesions in diabetics. So we're working on that study as well, and we have, I think, 10 or 15 sites. I'm one of the PIs, myself and Dr. Well is a PI for this project. So that's something that really just started, so it's sort of gaining some momentum now. But we should have some enrollment as soon as we get started. We'll start trying to get normal. I have to work with cardiology to figure out which patients are eligible.
Okay, and then we have the research infrastructure to be able to support you.
Yeah, so I'll have to transfer that also.
Right.
Something I'll do once we get here.
Okay.
So those are kind of where I'm at with the research side of things.
Perfect. So from a marketing standpoint, we would like to position you as a thought leader in our community and throughout the nation. How do you hope to be recognized by colleagues, patients, and community leaders?
Okay. Well,
that's an interesting question.
It's a tough question, and I'll have to. I can give you my answer, but it may not be the right marketing answer.
She's used to getting different answers from us.
And I'm not really a marketing expert, so based on my limited experience, but what I want to be recognized as someone who is able to put Baptist on it. And you can describe that however you want to describe it. Did I get the right people here? Did I put the right teams together? Did I, work with the operational folks to make things more efficient? However you want to say it, that's my goal. That's not really, I don't think, something you can market, but that's what I would like to be recognized for.
But we can market the program of which you're going to.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, we can market each program, but if say 5 years from now, someone comes up to me and introduces me and say, "Oh, this is McGinn. He's the one who built the cardiac surgery program." What's marketable right now is what I do, and there's very few people who do what I do. And when I say very few people, I'm trying to be modest, but I know that this is not the place to be modest because you need to know what to promote. But I do almost every case minimally invasive. There's very, very few surgeons. In fact, I don't know any surgeons in the country or the world that do that. There's a couple of guys in Japan that do a high percentage, but very few people do all of their coronary bypasses through a minimally invasive approach. So it's, I think if you go through a lot of websites and some prominent places, like Vanderbilt and even Cleveland Clinic and other places, they'll claim they do minimally invasive coronary bypass, but they really just dabble. There's only a very, very few places that I would actually go to for minimally invasive coronary bypass. So I think we could say that we're differentiated because of the fact that if you come to Baptist, we will more than likely be able to figure out a minimally invasive solution for you if you have coronary disease. So that's kind of what separates me from the rest of the crowd.
That's a great answer. Thank you. I saw a video recently where you were talking about connecting to purpose. Can you tell me a little bit about what your philosophy is when it comes to patient care?
Well, Yeah, so, of course, that's what motivates everybody. I mean, I think anybody in the healthcare industry, if the fact that a patient didn't get back to where they wanted to get back to, we would all lose our motivation to really have the outcomes that we have. And I thought it was a good thing that the Carolinas did. I don't know if you guys do this at all, but like a lot of times at major meetings and stuff like that, we'll be asked to give a story about a patient that just hit home. And they call it connected purpose. You guys do that?
We do too.
Oh, you do? You call it connected purpose as well? Okay. And I have so many stories like that, but there's so many that are amazing. And I'll just give you an example about, her name was Emily, I can't remember her name. It escapes me right now.
Is it Miss Diane?
No, Miss Diane was a different story.
Okay,
Different case, yeah.
that's the one I saw.
But this lady came into the hospital after having 2 cardiac arrests, one in the ambulance and one at home. To make it real brief, they did a code cool, which, I don't know what you guys call it.
Hypothermia.
Mm-hmm. They did a cold cool because her brain wasn't working when she got there. She had liver failure on a respirator, ended up recovering her liver, and then sometime after that woke up. Not 100% there, but woke up. And the procedure I do is great because it gets people back to what they normally do, like retired people get back to golfing, and then people who are the breadwinner for the family get back to work so they can support their family quicker. And disabled people, elderly people, they can undergo this surgery because it's less invasive and more tolerated by them. So this lady came in, and they asked me to look at her because she had a really bad left main and needed a couple of bypasses. I said, the last thing we want to do is to create a big old incision on her chest and make her even more debilitated. So we did a minimally invasive coronary bypass on her. She recovered great. She was in the hospital for 6 days, recovering her brain function. She ended up being able to get home pretty well. But I saw her about a month or 2 later, and I realized that she was one of these people that not only wouldn't tolerate open surgery, but also was the kind of person who wanted to get back to what she usually does. And it turns out that she's a foster parent. She usually has about 10 kids at any one time in her house. She is an actual farmer. She runs her own farm, and she's a minister. So this lady had so much going on that when I met her, I said, oh, my God, I can't believe how much, and she was back to full activity within about 3 weeks of surgery, 4 weeks of surgery. And I have a picture of her standing there with her pillow. We give them these art pillows.
Wow.
So that kind of stuff just makes you,
Special.
yeah, it really says, wow. And, get her back to doing stuff that helps other people is amazing.
And that's the key focus that we usually, and I don't mean to take some of your thunder, Carmen, but we look for patient stories as our primary focus to be able to go out and show what we're doing and connect it to a patient rather than a program. So having those types of patient stories are what Carmen loves from that standpoint.
It's impactful to the community.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And it could be anybody. And
Sure.
they see it. And one of the things, this is now from a marketing standpoint, but eventually we'll get to raising money. One of the pitches is that you could use some of these testimonials to go out and say, look, this is a guy who lives in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
He came in an ambulance to your hospital, ended up going home 2 days later with double bypass or triple bypass, and is doing great. So why are you giving your money to Cleveland Clinic, which is 50 miles away, doing sternotomies? But there's a lot of use of those kind of stories to get people motivated to focus on.
I think what's exciting having you here, Dr. McGinn, is, yes, the valve component of cardiac surgery is the sexy thing now, et cetera. But there's still a high volume of cabbages that need to be done.
That's the highest part.
And
by a long shot.
those cabbages, to have something that we can offer to the community that nobody else offers, in addition to building that valve program, just brings us with that total package. Because otherwise, if we just focused on the valves, then, the opportunities with cabbages are overlooked.
Yes, correct.
So having you come in with this expertise and then building the team, I think is going to be very well-rounded.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. And, we'll definitely build a valve program. I don't think that's going to be an obstacle. There's a lot of guys who do this kind of work, and a lot of places do it already, so we're going to have a lot of competition in that arena. but we need to be able to fill that bucket and create a solution. And I
Right.
think once we put all the pieces together, we're not going to market like, oh, we do mitral valve, we're expert at this. We're expert at everything minimally invasive when it comes to heart surgery.
Right.
Great.
And not only heart surgery, but heart. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to be able to say we have minimally invasive, advanced, cutting-edge solutions for just about any issue with them.
And we have some incredible opportunities related to CABGs with length of stay and those types of issues.
Which reminds me, the Perfect Care, which I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
I spoke to one of the guys I collaborated on that, who really I kind of called the Godfather or whatever you want to call it. What would you call me?
The grandfather.
Father of
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, so we called the Godfather.
Father.
So the Godfather of Perfect Care. And I said, we'd really love to see if you can come down and just...
Oh, I would love that.
Just get the team together and just go over the history of it.
Because when you told Kathleen also, we're all very excited about potentially doing something like that.
And Jessica told me about Perfect Care,
really?
and I immediately sent it
that's
to
right.
Carol
Yeah.
and Lindsay and
So we're all
Kathleen.
sketch
So
Yeah.
it
would
sounded
be a
like
great
an
opportunity.
amazing program.
Yeah. And if you guys are okay with that, I would invite Dr. Lovdell and his nurse manager to come down to give a dual component show, and they're great.
And I have some funding that can be used to get the program going.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Wow.
So that'd be big.
Yeah.
And that's all, part of this whole package, you know. So you're not just coming in and getting a fancy surgery. We're going to follow you at home. We're going to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go.
And we also need to look at the cardiac rehab piece, because I don't think we're maximizing the use of cardiac rehab. Okay. So, we have a very good cardiac rehab program.
Right.
So a lot of those things we need to look at. So that'll be very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, this is great. No, this is great information. Thank you. Doctor.
Another question you have, Carmen?
Yes. Is there a specific message that you consider to be vital to deliver through our marketing and PR efforts? I think I got the answer, but just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would like to say is that in Carolinas they did zero marketing, and I mean nothing. They did absolutely nothing, and I did not understand why in the beginning, but I found out why. The problem with the Carolinas is that they don't have room for more cases. They're packed to the gills. And where I was in New York, it was 14 different hospitals competing for the same piece of pie. So for you to be able to get some of that pie, you had to differentiate yourself and you had to market. So they did a lot of marketing in New York. So whatever referrals I get, and they come to about 2 to 3 a week. We're at a fairly steady clip of 2 to 3 a week just before I left, of patients finding out about what I do on the internet, calling many times New York, and then getting referred to Carolina because they were gracious enough to send the calls down to Carolina and get those patients in. And it's sort of fed on itself. I'm not even sure how it works, but if you Google my name, it comes up with all kinds of videos and all kinds of stuff. I'm not even sure how that happens. But what I think the best thing we could do to maintain that stream is to get the word out somehow that I've relocated and that we're doing the same surgery and we can retain that steady flow. So search engine optimization, whatever it is. And just to give you a little perspective on this, every day in the United States, 1,000 people are getting their chest cracked open to have bypass surgery. 1,000 people every day. So you could pick your number. 0.1%, we couldn't handle it. So it's a big, big market, and if we did one a day above what we're doing right now, that would be a huge, huge impact.
That would be almost 200 more cases.
Yeah, 200 more cases.
Just one more case a day.
Yeah, one more case a day would be almost. We'd have to retool, hire new nurses. We'd have to do a lot just to be able to handle it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, I've seen some competitive cities where they have big billboards up and da-da-da. No one's driving on the highway saying, oh, let me make a right turn here and get surgery by so-and-so. That's more branding stuff. I think if you really want to direct somebody here, I think when someone finds out that they need that chest cracked open, they're going to the internet, or their daughter or son is going to the internet, they're looking it up, and they're going to come up with a name. Now, of that 1,000 people a day, a fraction of them actually will look outside of where they're referred. Most patients, strangely enough, if they're told to go to this doctor, they go to that doctor. And, that's fine. We're not looking for those cases. But about, I don't know what the number is, but a fraction, maybe a quarter, maybe 20%, maybe even 10%, I don't know. A certain percentage of them, someone's going to go to the internet and say, there's got to be a better way. And they'll look into it a little more. And, part of our job, meaning, the operational side of things would be to figure out a way of getting them here, getting them housed, getting them cared for after the surgery for a couple of days. We did it okay in Carolinas. I would say Jessica, who took care of this, really did an amazing job. But she did it all by herself. We had like a halfway house across the hospital, which was kind of cheesy, and But if you do that right, that you get a lot of referrals, and that's sort of direct patient. But they're also cardiologists. Seeing a patient of mine will send cases every now and then from wherever they're from.
So I think, Carmen, an opportunity for us, especially as it relates to CABG, is to really, we need to really focus on educating the community on what minimally invasive CABG is.
Yep.
I think that's a huge opportunity for us, so that patients understand the difference between getting cardiac surgery at Mount Sinai or Jackson. For coronary bypass versus coming here.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the same as it is in the Carolinas or New York. In New York, there was a lot of independent cardiologists. There were also dedicated cardiologists. And when I was in New York, I put all three into buckets. I put the Northwell was the system, was with the Northwell dedicated physicians, the anti-Northwell physicians, meaning those that would dedicate to another organization, and then the independents. And then I sat with the marketing team. We focused mostly on the independents, a little bit on the Northwell loyal folks, but the Northwell loyal folks don't need a lot of work because they're already loyal. But they need to learn about what options are available for their patients, especially if the patients ask. But the real opportunity, I thought, was in the independent cardiologists, the ones who really are not wed to any particular organization. Now, what happened in Carolinas was also typical. They basically, that town is split in half. It's the weirdest thing. Either you're a Novant doc or you're a Carolinas doc. And they don't mix at all. There's nothing. It is completely split right down the middle, and so there's really nobody to do that kind of marketing. There's no independence. Yeah. Everybody's either got allegiance with one. So, I don't know the terrain down here, but just from my few interactions, it seems like there are independents.
Yes.
And we need to somehow get the word out to them. I'd be really happy to do a lunch, a dinner, just go to their offices and do a slideshow, whatever is the best way to handle it.
So, Carmen, this is where we would get Christy involved.
Yes.
So we have an arm of our organization that goes out there, and we have one dedicated to MCVI, Christy Flatus.
Okay.
So, and she's awesome. I've worked with her for a very long time here at Baptist, and she knows MCVI in and out.
Okay.
So we would need to once you get here, we'll get Christy involved.
Okay.
She goes to all the offices, and not only just could she go to cardiologists, but she's in primary care offices everywhere.
Okay.
Marketing us and pushing our programs. So we would want her to meet with you, and we would need to develop some collaterals that she can take. And if you go with her, she would even be more in hog heaven.
Especially
I actually spoke to her on the phone yesterday and told her I was going to be seeing you today, and she was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to meet him."
Oh, good.
She really can't wait to get started.
So we do have some infrastructure in place for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Great. So the next couple of questions are a little more light. So can you describe a typical day for you?
Rounds in the morning, usually about 6:30. Like to get everybody tucked in and ready for the day, get, whatever needs to be done for the patients for the day, operate, and rounds in the afternoon, hopefully dinner with the fam, and start round 2 the next day. I'll probably want to put a day or a day and a half just dedicated for, well, maybe even a little more than that, for office hours and for administrative duties. So,
Yeah, don't forget me.
Yeah, you will not have to worry about that. So I think that's kind of a typical day. I mean, I made it sound pretty simple, but it never goes that way. It just never does.
But your interest is you have a love for boating, right?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah. Boating's my hobby.
Yeah.
That's the main driver of my whole existence.
That's awesome.
My whole family loves it. We spend a lot of time on vacation on the boat, so it's
And what kind of boat do you have?
it's called a Fairline is the brand name.
I wouldn't have any idea what that is.
It's a cruising. You live in Miami.
And I've been with Captain for 40 years, and he's a boater. I'm not a boater. My husband doesn't swim, so.
Oh, God. He's wearing a life jacket if he comes out.
Yeah, seriously.
And last question, doctor. I know you come from a medical family. Can you describe how your upbringing influenced you into becoming a cardiovascular surgeon?
Oh, that's a funny story, but you can't put all this on. So my dad was one of these Archie Bunker type dads. He wanted everybody to go into medicine. He was a nephrologist, and he insisted everybody went into medicine. And I was the first guy to actually do it. I'm the second born. My oldest sister's a lawyer. He was very disappointed with that. But he insisted I went to medical school. I always did well in science and math and that kind of stuff, so it worked well for me. And then I found a love for surgery when I started medical school. And he got disappointed. He's like, oh my God, would I drop him on his head too many times? He wanted to be a surgeon. Because he's very cerebral internist.
Yeah.
So then my brother below that went to pre-med in college and dropped out and went into economics and ended up becoming an electrical engineer at the end of the day. But my brother did not tell my father until he graduated. My father had to go to the graduation.
Thinking he was graduating
pre-med. He was graduating
Oh my God.
as an electrical engineer. I mean, it's not like he's a slouch.
Yeah, no.
So, and then my brother after that became a physician. He's he's actually the chair of medicine at Northwell.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, my younger brother, yeah. So, and my dad and his brother, was my Uncle Tom, were internists as well. So, yeah, we come from a long line of internal medicine.
Sure do.
Yeah. So I'm like the black sheep.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I went to surgery.
Especially a cardiac surgeon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. Well, Carol asked my last question, but I guess I'll reword it. I know you're an avid sailor and a boat enthusiast, but are you excited to move to Miami?
Oh my God. I flew in yesterday. We came from the east over the beach. I could see all the umbrellas and the blue water and the boats going in and out the inlet. I was like, I'm home. I can't believe I'm working here. And I'm saying to myself, I hope I don't ruin it by going to work every day. But yes, I am very excited. This is perfect for me.
Great. Well, we're excited to have you, and I'm very excited to meet you in person and to get things going. Do you have any questions for me? I have Kelly here also.
Hi, Kelly. Nice.
Hi, likewise.
You guys have my cell number?
I do not.
Okay, so it's 305
Okay.
972
Uh-huh.
4211.
4211. Okay, I'll send you a text and I'll just say, this is Carmen, save my number.
Yeah, do that, because, if you have a quick question, just text me. If I'm in the OR, I'm not going to get back to you until I get out of the OR, but, this way we get things done quickly. I don't have a Baptist email address yet, so
Okay.
hopefully I'll get that.
That comes soon.
Coming soon.
Okay. Do you have, actually, I think I can get that from Rachel, just so I can send you the draft of the press release for your announcement so you can take a look at it?
You can use my personal email address.
Okay.
Actually, Carmen, I'll send you Dr. McGinn's contact.
And I think you have his email, Carmen, from
Okay.
the email I sent
Okay.
a couple of days ago.
Okay, perfect.
I'll send it to you and to Kelly.
Great.